One sec. Hey everyone, I'm Robbie Herring and I'm here today for Live with Prima, and we are going to make this dream plaque. It's very vibrant using the brand new Color Bloom sprays, and they're the limited edition Color Bloom 2, so y'all are going to get to have a look at those if you haven't seen them yet. But let's start out with a couple of announcements, and I've printed them out, so I hopefully will get them right. But first of all, calling all planner lovers out there. In celebration of our new Prima planners, we're having a launch party. We're so excited to share this new line of products with you, and we want you to be a part of the fun. So join us on October 15th, 2016 for an amazing planner launch party. Receive one of our 4 new planners, get up close and personal with our planners and accessories. We're going to have a mini workshop, demos, and much more. There's limited spaces available, so you don't want to miss out. So go to myprimaplanner.com to register and for all the information. And then there's something else that's really neat, and that is if you go to Facebook at Prima Marketing Flowers page, you can win 2 tickets to attend the party. And to win, all you have to do is go to the Prima page and comment under the party post. Simply tag a friend you go with to the Prima Planner launch party and comment below that, letting us know what you're most excited about. And then we'll pick a winner on September 1st, 2016. So definitely don't want to miss that opportunity. And then final announcement for right now is the next show coming up is Tiffany on Thursday evening, the 18th, and she will be creating a fabulous entry in her mixed media journal using confections, color blooms, sprays, and our amazing line of art mediums by Finn. So a lot going on, but you definitely don't want to miss if you're nearby or even go to the planner party. I wish I was closer because I would want to be there for sure. I can't wait to see them in real life. I've just seen pictures so far. Okay, so let's get started. A little bit of ground to cover today, nothing hard, just a lot of dry time. So hopefully it's going to get dry, but here's what we're doing. And you can see these are 2 of the new Color Bloom sprays I used. And of course the fabulous butterflies from the Relics and Artifacts line by Sandra. And lots of other little goodies. We've got some of the new foils I'm going to get to show you, some of Frank's new fragments. And these are really neat. I'm going to get up real close so y'all can see. They're all these neat little pieces. And so lots of fun stuff going on. So let's get started. Sorry, let me get my, okay, there you go. I think I've got it set where it's giving me reminders if I miss it. So let's set this aside, and I'm going to show you the plaque. Whoops. And now you're going to have to bear with me because I just knocked the stencil we're going to need off. I'm going to have to grab it because we can't do it without it. One sec. Okay. It's the Carte Blanche, I assume is how you say it. I probably am butchering that, but there you go. And that's number 583040. And if y'all haven't used these, I love them because you can use either side. And if y'all know and watch me, I usually choose to use this side because I love building inside. But for this one, I'm going with probably the right side. And so we're going to use this. And I've already added 1 coat of clear gesso. Excuse me, my dog decided to cough. And I'm alone today, so there's nobody to take care of the dog. So I'm hoping that goes well too. But I gave it a quick coat of clear gesso, and that's number 961466. And I did that ahead because with all the drying time, I didn't want to have to keep coming back to that. And then, all right, let's get started with the butterflies. These are the Relics and Artifacts butterflies, and they're 942366. And I should have cut the tape, but I didn't. Let's see. And if y'all haven't gotten these, this is, whoops, not going to open. Okay, there we go. I even love the way these are packaging. You could use the outside for projects. You could use, oh, and I didn't give you, I'm not sure. 942366 is the number. Can't remember if I did that or not. So they come packaged with raffia in them to kind of cushion them, which is neat. And look at all this stuff you get. So you get the raffia, and I'm not using it today, but I'm planning to use it for my November show and show y'all some fun things to do with raffia. But for today, I'm not. So here's what you get in the package. It's a lot of cool stuff. So you get the 2 large butterflies. You get this small one, and then you even get this, whoops, let's flip it over, and you even get this little one that you can build, and we're going to definitely do that today. Might should have glued it together ahead of time, but we'll be good to go. Okay, and then another neat thing you get is this little stand, and I'm not using it today either, but both of these, let's see, yeah, both of these larger butterflies have a hole in the center where you can put them on the stand, and you could even, I even thought it would be neat to stand them inside of a shadow box and do these. So lots of neat possibilities here. But let's see, let's put that one aside because we're not going to use these today either. We're going to use these three. I'm going to move this out of the way a little bit. And then I told you all about the Color Bloom 2 sprays. So this one is Pink Crocus. It's, let's see, number 588809. And then the other one I used today is 588779. And I haven't shaken them up yet, so let's do that real quick. And I'm going to do the butterflies first so they can be drying, because I'm going to kind of show y'all what I like to do with these and how I got the look. I should have shaken these ahead of time. What's really neat I love about these is they come, whoops, I just sprayed my whole, somehow shaking it sprayed my whole deal. I must have hit the button. They come without the water in them, so you can actually see how much mica is in these, and it's really cool. They're really shimmery. And what I did, and this is why we're going to set it aside, is I like to kind of flood this. So you can see I'm using quite a bit on these and going to let it just kind of flood, and it ends up, once we keep adding and once it starts drying, and I'm going to pull some of this color off, you can see I end up with these neat little watermark areas around them all, and I like that look. So now I'm going to spray just a tiny bit of water to help move that around a bit. And that'll make your mist go a little further too, although there's so much in here, they're going to go a long ways. All right, let's flood it down a little bit. And I'm going to set these over here and let them start the drying process, and we're going to work on the flowers. All right, and I'm wasting today in the interest of speeding it up, but normally, and so y'all can see too, normally I would try to do it off to the side a little bit so I could keep working with what was left over, because it's perfect to do the flowers and the leaves, but today that's not going to happen. Okay, let's see, we're going to do flowers next, and I'm going to show you how I colored the flowers. And I've worked ahead on those, so they're done, but I definitely, my dog is funny, I happen to look up. All right, but I definitely want to show y'all how to do them. But I've got some that are dry just so it'll stick quicker. Okay, let's just pick a couple, and I'm going to show y'all exactly how I colored these. Let's see if I can get the purple one. The colors are really neat with these two. I like that they're different than the ones we've had previously. And don't forget, they are limited edition, so you want to get them while you can. Okay, so going to have some water and a paintbrush. And I'm going to give you all the number. I don't think I put it on my list, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. I'm opening a new box or new package of paintbrushes today. So mine have gotten to the point where they're embarrassing, the ones I've been using. So it's 962760, and y'all can see, because this is new, there's 7 brushes in this set, and they're terrific. Okay, so you can mist your flowers, but what I found whenever I was putting this much color on them is that they were taking really forever to dry, and they were also kind of flattening out on me. And so to avoid that, what I ended up doing, to keep them just a little less wet, and they'll pop back and hold their shape for sure, but this just speeded it up a little bit. And of course, in the Texas weather today, you can, or right now, it's so hot, it's wet today, but mostly it's been so hot that you can take them outside and dry them in about 2 seconds, I swear. Okay, so all I'm doing is adding a tiny bit of water, and I like to start on the back side, on the bottom side layer, adding a tiny bit of water, And then I'm even going to add even a tiny bit more water into the Color Bloom spray. And I'll hold this up where y'all can see closer. And just giving them some color on the inside, as much or as little as you want. On these, most of them, some of them got a little heavy, but I left a little bit of white. And then do the inside. Let me show y'all that so you can see. So see, I'm just giving it a little bit of flood of color there on the inside layer. And then these, and I'm going to show y'all both ways. You can even just keep dipping into your water and dipping in here. And if you need more, just keep adding a bit of water and it'll start flooding it out. And just giving a little bit of color there. I love the way the Prima flowers take the color. And we're wanting it vibrant, so you definitely want to add a little extra. Okay, and then I also did, in fact, I think we're just going to do one. You don't have to do two. And then I also did with the pink crocus. I have no idea if that's how you say that. Hopefully I'm saying it correctly, but if not, oh well. I've done worse things. We're going to do the same thing, only we're just going to give a little bit of color on the edges here. And you can see this isn't flooding quite as much and seeping and moving. So just keep adding a little bit of water and it'll start that process. And this one, because I'm not even worrying about anything, including which layer I do, because I'm just adding in some of the purple to go with it. This is somewhere between purple and lavender. I'm not even sure where. Then I'm going to show y'all something. If you don't like how mottled it's getting, just keep adding some water. Let me put it up here where you can see it closer. So add a bit more water and it'll keep going together. Or, since this one doesn't have to dry fast, let me move it up where you can see. Here's where we're going. You can even give it that mist that takes a little longer and keep adding just till you like it. But I definitely want to keep a tiny bit of white showing. And the other thing is if you get too heavy-handed and you wish you had more white, I'm going to show you how to do that at the end. So this is all I did, and you can see, let me show you what they look like once they dry. So then you're not getting a real clear picture here. I think it's okay. But you can see they dry with both colors. So that is all we're going to do for those. And then the leaves are the same thing. What I did with them was I took a little bit more water. These brushes are, there we go, they're new, so they weren't grabbing as much water. I think that's actually the bigger one. I could tell what was going on. And then same thing, going to add a little bit of color with a little bit of water, let it seep out. And I just did to the end on the tips here. I didn't go all the way down. And there you go. And these two, let me show you a leaf wet and a leaf dry. Let's get one of the larger ones. So you can see this is how, once they get all done, how they dry. And that one I, of course, need to put a little bit more to make it go out. But that's it. And then they dry up and you have all different variations of color. So really simple to color these to get started. And you're good to go. Okay. Now, let's see what else. Oh, forgot one quick thing now that I've wasted my stuff. Actually, we'll just do, I also used a chipboard word, and we'll do it when I'm doing the plaque. I'll add some color, but I did the same thing. And this is just a chipboard word that says dream, and I put a coat of white gesso on it, and that is number 961442. And that was just kind of to seal it and give it a little bit of that white color for the continuity. Okay, now the plaque. So here's the plaque. And actually, now that I'm looking at these, you can see these butterflies over here because I'm wanting it to keep drying and keep doing that. I'm going to soak up just a tiny bit of this to let that flooding start to kind of watermark. And you can see now that it's a little bit dry. Once I get these done, I'll pull it up close for you. And that's why I like to kind of do stuff like this where I can keep it as a process. These centers need to be. Saves me time. And y'all should know too, I am notorious for putting stuff in the oven if I don't. But be sure if you do that, don't take my advice, be sure if you do that to do it on a very low setting. And you should be good. Okay, so for the plaque, I wanted to build the area where I was going to put the flowers and the butterflies and build the whole look. So for that, like I said, remember this already has a clear gesso, which I like to do. You wouldn't have to, but I like to do it because that way if I don't like something, it'll wipe right off. And it's kind of a little bit of wiggle room for me. Same pink color we used before, and we're just going to give ourselves a background. This is by no means perfection. It's just giving us a little bit of background, a little bit of base, and putting that vibrant look in here too. And just kind of building the shape too, because once this was done, then I kind of had my shape and my area of where I wanted to put everything and have it turn out the way I liked. And you can see I'm using the side of the brush just to kind of give myself some lines. I like that look. And I also will drip some if I want to, but that looks about right. And then make sure, same thing, to put a little bit on the sides. I like to do that, so if anybody sees the sides, it still looks nice and looks like it's the part of the project. All right, let's put some up here at the top. And I can't even see that, so you know that this is not an exact science. Don't be picky. I'm sure it's close because I can see my other one, but trust me, it is not the same. We're going to give this a quick dry. And while I'm drying that, I'm going to add a tiny bit of color to this dream word to kind of get that going. And you can see I'm just dabbing it. Doesn't matter. And I can even see from my other one, I had it a little bit whiter, but it'll still work. Okay, now that's getting started. And like I said, if you want to do some drips, which I did, go ahead and just do a little thing and let it start dripping down. And yeah, good, you can see that. And this one happens to have a crack in it, which I think is neat. These are all a tiny bit different, and I think that's cool. And let's give ourselves some drips here. And you can always use a paintbrush to kind of help them along and to guide them. So we want to do a few there and let those dry. Okay, now let's keep drying. You can splatter. And this one, let's see, let's pull it down a little. Your dryer, it can even, this dryer doesn't have a lot of, it's not like a strong airstream, it's just hot. But if you use a regular hair dryer, you can even blow these along. Let's get a little bit more. Sorry, y'all. Yes, I'm reading the chat while I'm drying. It is like, I would say close to a periwinkle and lavender. It's very pretty, but it's also a little difficult to pigeonhole into one specific color. But not true lavender or purple. Okay, and I am going to, just to save a little time, just take a little bit and dry some of this up. And you can just use a paper towel and pick up some of the wet and still have the drippy look. Otherwise, it's going to continue to drip and we're going to sit here and dry. Let me get these. We're not going to need that till later, so that'll be good. Okay, that one will be good. And then let's add a drip to this other side because I definitely will want something coming down here. Let's maybe add another and help them along a little. See what I'm saying? So when if they meet a crack and you're not liking it, just use your paintbrush to guide it a little bit. Okay. I threw my paper towel away and I still needed it. And I'm going to do the same thing here, but I'm going to start out just picking up a little bit of that wet. All right, hopefully won't have too much drying since the flowers are done. And after this is dry, we're going to add just a touch of purple in the background. And because the drips take longer, I'm not going to do it, but if you wanted to, you could add purple drips, or you can just add some purple of the color. And I'm going to call it purple, even though we've already discussed that it's not really. Kind of is. Okay, a little bit of purple, and then we'll be ready to move on. And I'm just going to add some here and there. A lot less of this. This is kind of my accent color, except a little more than that. And we'll be ready to move on. Oh, and don't forget your word like I almost did. Add some purple to your word too. And while we're drying, I'm going to pull this up close so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just giving it, whoops, my hand is shaky for some reason. Just giving it some mottled color of both of the colors that we're using. That's getting close. I really thought this one was going to be a fast one, but I'm starting to doubt that a little bit. Okay, one last thing too is that now that this is getting dry and you can see that, whoops, sorry, hit the camera again. I thought I had it set. I worked really hard today to set it, and I've got it on the back too, and that's okay. Just wipe it off. You want to be sure to add a tiny bit of color of the purple into it, and I did it with a paintbrush because I wanted to make sure that it kind of hit in those places that where the water was, where the water marking was starting. And so I just added some to let this start running. And this one modeled a little bit different. They all do. But I just wanted to put it here and there to let some of the purple start getting on these. And I'm going to not pick these up because that makes a big mess. Same thing. And you can touch up your edges because this project has so much white in it. It's really not necessary. But if it bothers you that the butterflies have a little bit of white on the edges, you can definitely fix that. Let's put a little bit more right there. Okay, and those will be drying while we get moving on to the next section. And that is all we're going to need of those. So, lost my thing so I can make sure y'all can see. Sorry. Okay, so next thing is, let me see how dry this is I took my Prima tool, and I didn't write this down, but if you don't have one of these, this is great. And I gave everything a little bit of the stretching on the edges with it. And if you've got one of these, you know you can use both sides, and they make it really fast, and that allowed a little bit of the wood grain to show through. Put it down and put a little more pressure. And as you can also see, it starts to soften it up a bit. But, so that was the heavier part, and I made sure boy, that's loud. Haven't done that live before. And it's funny, when you're sitting here by yourself, you don't realize how loud it is. And then, to lighten the color down just a tiny bit and to get rid of all these real hard edges that I ended up, I just used a sanding block. And just gave each of those a little bit of a sand. and that just kind of, they're still a bit damp. If they're totally dry, mine are pulling a little bit. If yours are totally dry, they're not going to do that. And so I gave everything a bit of a sand, and that ended up being my background. Let's see a little bit more right here. All right, so that is it. That is all the color bloom. And you can see a little on the side, a little drip, gives a little personality, and we're good to go as soon as it's all dry. So next thing was, actually I'm going to give that a bit of a tap too. Soften it. All right, next thing up was I took a stencil, and it is the How Sweet It Is to Be Loved, and it says by you. And I wanted to use these flowers because I like the way I can build my background. So I put tape over, just painter's tape, and it'll peel right off when I'm done. But I put tape over it just to make it easier while I was playing with this part, that I didn't get the words in there because I didn't want them. And what I used with that was some 3D gloss gel. And that is number, here we are, 961381. And I used those because I wanted stuff to kind of peek out here and there. And you can see that these will be neat because I can put them sideways and down and just have them dripping basically out of the project. Let's see, let's do it this way. This will not be the same as my other. It'll be close, but it will not be the same. I can guarantee it. And just used a little bit of 3D gloss gel. And I'm going to use the silver micro beads, and I love both of the 3D gels, but different things that I like them for. And for this type of thing with the micro beads, I like the shiny. So that works. And then you're going to want to be a little bit careful if you're working as quickly as I am today to make sure that you don't get on there. I will probably blow it and touch it, but we'll see. Ooh, I did good. Gotta like that. And then let's see, what do I want to use here? And the other thing is too, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to choose something different. But you could clean it up and you could flip it. So if these aren't going the way you want, you can flip them around. And I'm going to use this same little section. And you can use the back side. So you can really look at the way the flowers are going and choose either way. So don't forget that little thing. And then I'm trying to be better about my stencils. So y'all give me one sec to wipe this off at least a little bit. After my shows, if I don't, I'm finding I'm messing them up. So I'm trying to at least get the bulk of it off these days. It's a new thing. And as y'all can see, I'm still not going to do a great job. And then what I did was I took the silver micro beads, and I'll give you that number. It is 962562. And you could put some up here, but it's not really going to show, so I wouldn't even worry about it because we're also going to add a few more as the project goes on. And we're just going to give these a little sprinkle. And there we go. Let me see if I can get rid of some of this mess. What did I do with those? Lost my baby wipes. Oh, here, they fell on the floor. It's probably normal that they're all right here by me and I don't have them. It always makes me laugh how when you're live, you can't find things that are literally right in front of you. Okay. I'm going to give this a quick dry. Like I said, this is super simple, but it does have drying time. because we're going to build on this, it needs to get somewhat dry. Yeah, those aren't even close. I see you're talking about the beads. I do love the beads on the stencils. They're real tiny, so I love the way they still hold the shape of the stencil. You can still see that it was flowers and leaves. And I love the larger ones whenever I just want to give a hint of the shape when it doesn't matter as much. This one I liked it being a little more. Okay, I think that we're going to call that good. And let's give this a quick, because we're getting to where we're going to need it. And hopefully y'all can see. I'll show you here in a sec how it's starting to get those, really have that watermark look on it. All right, now while we have the beads out, and let's see, let's get some, oops, sorry, let's get some space here to work. I'm going to move this plaque aside and let it continue to dry a little bit, and we're going to finish up our butterflies. All right, and y'all can see if I can find a piece of, I forgot to get a piece of paper to put these back in so y'all can see how big I printed. The eyes are going. How big I printed my announcements. Whoops. I've got to find some kind of stand. Get my camera out of my way so I'll quit doing that to y'all and hitting it, but so far that hasn't been working for me. Okay, now let's see, paper towels. I'm going to dry the rest of this, and you're going to get to see how the watermark starts to work, or how it finishes working. It's already started. And why I like to flood it a bit. Because once you just start dabbing it, those white places show through. And you still have, it's going to probably be a little difficult, but you can see we still have the purplish color. And I love the way that turns out. So, got that. And what I did was I went ahead on the big one, the little one we can add to if we want. I went ahead and added some of the micro beads to it before I put it on, and that way it'll start drying as well. These projects, oh, and I used glossy accents along with the same silver micro beads, and I like the more precision tip of this. And what I did was I just wanted a bit of silver peeking out and drew some lines. It's going to be hard for y'all to see, I know, until I put some of the beads on it, and you'll kind of get to see what I did. I just kind of went along with the shapes that were already there from the relics. And there's already little lines here and there, so you'll get to see how this. So see, and just stick with what's already been done so well. You don't even have to make it up as you go. It's already there for you. Running a little low on these silver ones. I need to get me a new jar. I thought I did, but I didn't. Okay, and then last thing was on these is I put some in the middle, and I have these clear little rhinestone pieces, and I put a few of those in the center of the butterfly. The other thing is too with the glossy accents, if you do like I just did and you drop them, this is so shiny it won't matter. Of course now it's going to stick to my finger. Let's get a few out. Should have got my tweezers too, now that, you know, that hindsight thing. But if I tried to find them quick, it would probably never happen. And just lined at the center. And something else too is Prima has, with the Relics and Artifacts, they have some new of the rhinestones coming out, which I haven't seen in real life yet, but I'm super excited. In fact, I think they're already shipping to stores, so you should be able to get your hands on them quickly. So, very cool. Okay, and then I added a little bit same thing to this one. Let's put a little bit on the outside. That one I got a little heavy-handed, but I still like the way it looks, so I'm good with that. And then this one too, but I haven't glued it together yet, so let's go ahead and do that. And y'all, I'm going to tell you, you're going to need to use E6000 or something. I'm going to use something that'll stick permanently. For today, just in the interest of speed, I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue. Well, I might be. Oh, there, yeah, I am. And stick this together. And stick it to your mat. Not really, that was a joke. Which you probably knew. The beauty of these mats, though, as soon as it's dry, you can pull it right off. Okay, and then the other thing I did is the two larger ones already have the center, or the antennas. So for the little one, I decided he needed some antennas too. So just a, I don't know, cheapy little piece of wire. I'm not even sure if it was actually something I bought or if it's hanging around from something else, but any piece of silver wire. And you want to use one that's a little heavy. Let's see how wet that, oh, still wet, good. And we're going to give him some antennas too. Okay, so I made a mess, but I did not burn myself. So I figure that's a win, right? So you can see, just gave him a little antenna, and I'm going to put him upside down so he can dry. And whoops, evidently my butterflies today are boys. Okay, let's get that aside. Where's my pen? You know, you can do this 20 times on your own and not spill everything. And you can never do it live and not spill stuff. Okay, so I'm going to keep that available because we're going to come back to it. But now we're going to start, where am I going to put it? Now we're going to start building the whole thing. And so that's why I've already got my flowers out over here. Let's get everything handy, because now we get to start putting it all together. And we'll keep letting all that dry. Okay, so I started out, I have the word, and I have these white wooden flowers, and you can use anything you want. And what we want to do is kind of just start, and I picked these up at Michael's. We want to start giving ourselves a little bit of a base, figuring out what we want to do. The other thing that I did is that I cut some of them in half to do the edge. And your Tim Holtz scissors will cut them with a little bit of pressure, but it doesn't take too much. And let's see. So if I do that, I think I'm pretty good with that. And I am going to put a little bit of hot glue and to make it fast to stick, but I'm also going to use this is 3-in-1, so it will stick permanently. So the hot glue will not stay as permanent, so you probably don't want to use it whenever you have a little more time. Let's see, how about right there? Not even sure if it's in the same place, but we're just going to keep building around it so it really doesn't matter. I love the tip on this new glue gun that I got. It's more precise than my old one. My old one finally bit the dust. So I had to get a new one, and I am liking, I don't know if y'all can see that, I am liking this a lot. And I don't know if it's because of that tip, but it happens to not leak glue everywhere like it used, like my other one did. So here's what we're doing. We're just got us a base here with some of the flowers. You can use as many, as few. You can use some smaller pieces. In fact, I have some of these smaller ones, and who knows, we may end up tucking some in. So let's go to the butterfly and the word. So this is still a bit damp, so I'm going to have to be a little careful placing it. And actually, like where the other one was a little bit better, but we're going to place this in. Like I said, I didn't get this one as white as I did the other, but we're going to fix that later. And let's see. That's what I was talking about maybe using a little. When I'm placing this, it's not sitting as nicely as I'd like, so I am actually going to add one more here. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, so just build as you go. Like I said, they're never going to be exactly the same. Of course, you can go on and like really look closely and get it that way, but it never seems to happen for me, even if I am copying myself. And then let's go ahead and give this a little bit of glue. This is where it speeds up. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to touch everywhere, so give it just a bit here and there, and something's bound to grab. That works. Okay. Same thing with the butterfly. You're not going to need pop dots or anything because it's going to be sitting on this wood base. Same thing here. Not sure where it's going to attach, so I'm going to put a little bit of stuff in each section. I love new bottles of glue. They come out faster. Then let's see. Yeah, that works. Let me place these little antennae a little better. And then this final one, y'all get to see it because I'll flip it over. And I'm just following my basic shape while starting this. So here you go. Now you can see a little bit. So see how we've kind of built that base shape, and now all we have to do is go back through and start embellishing around it. So we already have basically where the whole thing's going to be. So next up is flowers. I need to move stuff out of my way. Okay, so the flowers, same thing. And I'm going to show y'all so you can see down the road. This one I got a little heavy-handed compared to the others. So we're going to add some white at the end, but let's see. It looks like that one I'm going to lose altogether if I stick with kind of what I did before, but it still helped with the base, so it's still not a total waste. And then all I did was I started tucking all these pieces around and getting just a basic idea of where I want them to be. I want to make sure I can read my word. Let's see what I have here. We'll keep it fairly close to the same. Yeah, this is gonna work. What I got here. maybe those two. Yeah, okay. So sticking with basically the same shape I used before, and let's just start adding them. I tried to do the same flowers when I colored these. I think I got pretty close. And I like to give them a pinch in the center, and that's going to separate the leaves, and that to me, or the petals, and that to me really is why we do the undersides, the underside of the flowers too, and the petals. Is it make sure that no matter what's showing when you start manipulating it and tucking stuff in, no matter what's showing, you've got your continuity of color there, and I like that. Let's see. The one thing about the new glue, though, is it's a little wetter. So it may take a tiny bit longer to grab. I think those are grabbed. We'll come back. You can do a few at a time if you want. We're going to do that. Let's see, how about right there? Remember, this is grabbing, but I can still move those because I know they're going to be covered. Normally I'd tuck the leaves in after, but y'all can't see her, but one of my dogs, I guess she thinks I'm talking to her, so she is now leaning up against me, asking me to pet her. And then this one I'm going to tuck. Let's see what I did here. I need a couple more leaves. Let's go ahead and do these three. But at least they're being quiet now. That's a good thing. All right. And I'm looking at my other one to follow. So it's kind of nice to get to cheat because you already decided all this the last time I did it. And let's get these two to catch. And then let's tuck one more in. The other thing too, I think this one's going to fit, but the last one I did, I wasn't liking the size of this one and I wanted it smaller. So I just pulled off the top layer of the flower. I don't remember which one it was. But you can always just pull off the top layer and use the bottom one to tuck in somewhere else. So you can just keep tucking things in as you go. Let me let y'all see this up close. So here's what we've got. There we go. And this actually is a little more vibrant than my camera is showing it today. This I'm not feeling so much. You can see my micro beads are coming off a bit because they're still not totally dry. Okay, so that's the base. And before we start adding all the extra, like I said, the places, and I had this happen last time too, is that some of them were feeling a little full, a little more colored than the rest, and I wanted to kind of give it a continuous look. So what I did, and I'm going to do it today too, is I took white gesso, and it is number 961442. And let me get some clean water over here with us. And what I did is I took a seafoam sponge, and I tend to buy the cheapest ones I can find, and if they're big, I don't care. I just pull them apart. Get it a little bit damp. And I know y'all can't see. I'm getting it wet in my water. Sorry, I didn't realize I was off camera. Okay, there we go. And then I dip it while it's wet. You can give it a little bit of the white gesso. and then you can go in and kind of touch everything. And I love the look of this, and I love the way it lets me do heavier or lighter, gives me a little control of any spaces that's not totally stuck yet. Gives me a little more control of what I'm doing. I want to add a little bit for the same reason to the butterflies. I'll bring this in close for y'all in just a sec. And like I said, this is damp, but not truly wet wet. And then the other thing, which is why I had not worried about the dream word not being wide enough, is because I knew I was going to do this, and I'm going to get me some white on there to make it pull together on this project as well. So you can see. So I'm getting some white in there, and now that I've done that, I can even take my paintbrush and smooth it a little on the word. And that's pulling my word back into the project. So all is not lost if you don't like something. You can fix it easily. So, and this gesso, the reason I'm adding a water is that it is so thick and so awesome that you can get full coverage, but for this I'm not going for full coverage. So there, all of a sudden, about 2 minutes, if that long, and I've got some of the things that I wasn't feeling fixed. And you can keep adding till you're happy. And I'm going to add and be happy right here. That one little flower is a little darker. Okay, so that is all for the gesso. Let's wipe it up. And now it's like final touches. It's looking at your whole look and saying, okay, where am I missing stuff? And that's where these come in. These are the Prima Magnolia Trims. And these are, let's see, can I see this? There it is, 583019. And these, oops, I knew I was going to forget something, but those are handy, my fabric scissors. These I love to cut apart and just use individually. So what I did was I cut several of them apart and started tucking them in as well. And I'm cutting off the little connector pieces just because they bother me. If they don't bother you, leave them be. It's not a problem. And I really don't even know how many I used, but we can always get a few more if we need them. Let's do one more. I think that should be plenty. And then you want to look at where are the places that bother me or that I just feel need a little something else. Because I had these white ones, I wanted something that maybe had a little bit more of the white in certain places. So that's all you're going to do. And you're going to add a little bit of Fabri-Tac or 3-in-1. And you're going to tuck them in. To any of those spaces. Let's see. Oh, on my other one, I had white here. This one I don't. So even though I used one in this area, it was a little bit of a different spot. So this one I'm going to lower down a little bit than the last one. And just keep adding here and there. The other thing too that's going to be nice is I'm not liking how flat this leaf is. So by putting one here, and I can't remember, but I'll bet you that's what happened last time, was I used it to give myself a little bit of dimension too, which is nice. And you can see I'm just tucking them in. There's nothing fancy or special about it. other than I'm not using them flat. And pretty good guess. I know myself pretty well, and I'm looking at my other one. I did 5 on it as well. So, and I do like an odd number, so I can guarantee y'all if I had used one more, I would have used 2 more. Okay, the other thing that I did, and this will help them hold their shape, and also is I happen to have these beads that were a pretty close match. So that's what I used for the center, was just some of these little glass beads. That's another thing that Prima has coming out, is all new pearls. I'm super excited. I don't have them yet, but I love the colors of, I love the colors of them. They're kind of there's cream, and it looks like maybe a pale gold. Like I said, I don't have them in my hands yet, but I absolutely love using glass beads, so I can't wait to have some more color choices. And you can even go in and add some of these beads elsewhere. I only used them for these flower centers. I did not use them anywhere else on this project. There was one more. And that one. Okay, let me pull it up close so you can see. So here's where we're going, and you can see those purple beads just tucked in there. And you can see the whole thing. And that was it for that. And then a couple more finishing touches, and we are done. So I need my silver micro beads again. Sorry, wish I had an extra bottle. We wouldn't have to be doing these, but we're going to have to today. Oops. Give me one sec. So I went back in with the, I've lost lids to everything. Okay. I went back in with the glossy accents, and I started just adding silver to the places, to pull it across all the things, to the places that I just wanted to accent. And I did a little bit in each of the flower centers. And I'm going to see if I can keep up with where I put this. The glossy accents is so clear that sometimes I forget where I even put it. And actually, yeah, it is. First I thought it was so clear it wasn't even coming out, but it is. But not well, so let's see if I can get the tip of it open a bit better. All right, and I added a little bit even to these flowers where I just put the pearls to the centers of the leaves you saw me doing, and I even added a bit here and there for this. I just realized I totally forgot something, but I have to show it, so we're gonna do it real quick. We're gonna come back to these beads. Glad I looked up because this is cool. I get to show y'all some of the new foils. This is the Foildelic, and love these. They're new foils. There's also new rub-ons, and this is one of the packages. And I've already used this for samples. So unfortunately, I can't show you the black and gold, but you can kind of see here, it's like black and gold and silver, and it's gorgeous. And then there, oh wait, you can see part of it. Hang on. Even though I've already used it, you can see. Isn't that cool? And then there's this. I just can't wait to use that one. I still have 2 sheets because I haven't gotten to that one yet because this is brand new. And then this is the one that I used today, and I'm hoping you can see, but it totally dictated my color palette. So it is silver, and it's that same color of pink color and the purple. And this one is number 588915. Can't believe I almost forgot. I looked up and I went, wait. So I'm glad I remembered. Let me find my pen. So maybe my glossy accents won't dry out while I do this. Okay. Okay, so this y'all seen me do before, but in case you haven't been here to see me do it, I want to make sure I show you how. I'm using the 3-in-1 Fabri-Tac, whichever one of those you want, something that'll dry sticky. And what you want is you want it to be not dry, but you don't want it real wet or it doesn't stick as well. You're going to see. So I'm rubbing my fingers till it's just almost dry. And then you can rub this foil on it. I absolutely love this stuff. It's so cool. Let me bring it up. Actually, let me do one more section so you can see a little better. A section where I can do a little bit more. And the reason I put it on my mat is for that reason, because it also kind of helps me start getting it dry so it's not quite as wet when you're going along. So I usually do it or put it on a piece of paper if you don't have a mat, just anywhere, and it starts the drying process. And once you've done it a couple of times, you'll get pretty good at telling if it's dry enough. I'll bring it up so you can see. There, it's picking up the sheen. Isn't that awesome? And I know it's difficult to see, but here you can see, in real life you can see some of the color. You can tell that it's that same color palette. And so you want to maybe add a bit on your word. Prima getting new product in never gets old. It's always exciting. Let me put a little bit more glue out. And you just want to make sure you add a, whoops, I didn't stick that one. It's not stuck real well. Add a little bit to all the different areas. See, I'm a tiny bit over, but we really are almost done. I always hope to do that hour, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. So there you go. And then I'm not gonna keep adding a lot, but you can add as much or as little as you want. And I can see the light is picking up that sheen. But the one thing you do want to make sure, or you don't have to, but I like, is to make sure I add some to the edges too. And what I did on this one was I only added to the edges within my project, within that whole area that I used to build this background in this particular shape. I didn't go down the sides where it was all clear. I chose just to leave that. But by doing this, I got a little bit here within the shape. That part got a little dry right there. But all good. You can even do this on your flowers. I didn't this time, but you can add a little bit of sheen to your flowers. So you can see here's where I've added the sheen. Okay, back to where I was. Okay, but that was one of the biggest parts. I love that stuff. So I wanted y'all to get to see it. Okay, so now back to just adding bits of silver beads here and there, just to kind of pull this together. You can add them anywhere you want. Whoops, that was not good. I really banged it that time. Sorry, y'all. Make sure you get a little on each of the elements. And then same thing in the center of the flowers. I'm going to try to work really quick. Oh, don't forget the leaves. I'm going to go ahead and... The glossy accents doesn't dry as quickly, so you can work in a lot of spaces all together. And then pour them all together, because you've got a little more time with it. Let's add a touch on him. See if I got think that's pretty good. Oh, right here. And again, this is as much or as little as you want to add. And then just keep dumping them in something to catch them. And then let's see, turning it to hold it is a trick. I'm just going to give myself a little pinch. I missed that center. Okay. Shake it off. And so there is that. And then, let's see, a couple more little tiny things. Let's go ahead and get this so we can see. All right, so other thing I did is I wanted some little drips, and this is great because you can fill in any spots that may be blank. So like where this is really blank, you can fill in some of the spots, and and I say drips, I just basically did some lines using these pieces, this same thing, to give myself a little bit of silver, and not only will it fill in a place like that I don't like so much, it also you can use it to help build this shape you had going and accent those flower areas you did. And it just kind of allows, that butterfly is barely hanging on. It just kind of allows you to keep making that shape the way you want for your final product. Let's see. And I'll show y'all. Boy, two separate edges is going to make a mess. But we don't care at this point. We're almost done. So you can see how I'm filling in some of those blank spots. I'm building this. I feel like I need one right here. And so then I end up with a shape that is overall pleasing to me. And then last touch, I think, I'm looking to make sure I didn't forget anything else cool, because this is cool too. Boy, I've got a mess. Okay, brand new, love new products. Like I said, this is the new memory hardware remnant fragments. There's 50 in this package, and I want y'all to see there's 3 different kinds. 2 of them are a gold, like an antique gold, and one of them's an antique silver. Oh, number, let's see, this is, I don't know that I have the number. I don't know the number for this one. I am sorry, Carrie. I didn't have it because it was so new, and I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I don't have the number, but they're new memory hardware fragments. So go look for them. Whoops. Told you. I'm going to spill it all. That's what makes it interesting, right? It is definitely real life. Okay. So I use the silver, of course, because that's what I have been using for the whole project. And I also used a couple of just smaller little rhinestone pieces, and they are the final touch. I'm going to pour these on this side, and we'll see. Like I said, I wish I had remembered to grab my tweezers. So all you're going to do here is, I went like at the bottom and in and out, and just put them in different places where I could see. But I also sometimes kind of like to give just a touch at the end of these strip parts. So maybe put one here and one there. And it's kind of like that. And then maybe use this. And let's see, let's put something there. And again, this is just final touches to build your final look. Same thing with these 2 is because I don't want them just on the outside. Let's see. I'm looking at it on camera and figuring out where I want things. since I don't want them just on the outside and nowhere else, I'm going to add a couple into the center of the flower here and there. But just kind of play. Those may, I think I might skip that one I did up there. Whoops, I like this side. And those will be lined up. And I put a dot here, but I don't like it. The glossy accent's totally going to disappear. You'll never even be able to see it. But I don't want to have them exactly in a line. So that is one more little tip, is just kind of make sure that it's not in a line. I like them to be scattered. And then add a couple here and there. You can add a fragment. You can add some of these big ones. You can add some little. I tucked one here into the butterfly. Couple onto a flower. Let's grab a big one. Since I spilled those everywhere, they're still laying over there to the side. And just add a few of these little finishing touches, and you are good, and you are done. Okay, I think we're going to call it good. I think that I could sit here and pick at it and play with it, but I can see that I might add a bit more white here when I come back. So like I said, you can sit there and pick and play, but here, let me let you see. So you can see the details. I added a fragment here and there. I added a little rhinestone here and there. And I've got my complete shape that's very similar to my last one. So let you show the last one. And then here's the other one. So you can see they're very, very similar. So that is all, y'all. Sorry I went a little bit over. And I want to thank y'all so much for coming. It means so much to us for y'all to be here. Can't wait to chat with y'all again. And let me give you one last little reminder. Do not forget the Prima Planners, the launch party. Go to myprimaplanner.com and get all the details. And also do not forget to go to Facebook and see if you can win the chance to go. And then Tiffany again is on Thursday. So be sure to watch for that. Thanks so much, y'all. We appreciate you being